So we have talked in the past about VMCs, verified mark certificates,
Yes.
verified mark certificates. Now there is a new thing called a CMC or a common mark certificate. So let's explain what that is.
Tim, verified mark certificates, I think those are the ones that are a little more difficult to get. Is that right? That is the one where
so first of all, with a VMC, you attach it to an email, and then a VMC compliant email application, like, could be Gmail, right, or Outlook or whatever, will actually display your logo next to the email, and it indicates that you use DMARC. You have to use DMARC, DMARC to do it, and DMARC is more secure. So it's an indicator that it's a more secure email sending method. It also can help end users potentially differentiate between real and false email, and generally it's believed that it probably increases open rates, increases confidence. So that's the reason people want to do it. So yes, so a VMC, a verified mark certificate, is that if you own a trademark, you can go through a process with the CA to get that verified, validated. We would probably call it in WebPKI parlance, and then that cert has that logo, that mark associated with it. That's granted to you, and now you can attach that to your emails. So the limitation on that is that lots of people use logos, visual brand identities that aren't actually registered trademarks.
That's right.
Right? And I think the original vision for VMC was just that, better go register the trademark. And more recently, we have seen the emergence of this thing called a common mark certificate, a CMC, where basically what you do is you as the subscriber prove usage. You have to have been using it, and you have to have been using it for a minimal amount of time, and I think it's a matter of years. But you prove usage, and proving usage is sufficient to get a CMC, which then technically operates the exact same way as a VMC.
Perfect. And that was my question to you, Tim, because I genuinely don't know the answer to this question in terms of the process difference.
Yeah.
So a verified mark certificate, I mean, I would imagine that there is definitely a way to prove that you own a trademark. Like that's just a pretty clear-cut proof. Yeah. But for something that you're proving usage of, I would imagine there's a different process.
Yeah, and I'm not a member of BIMI. We don't do VMCs, so I just know what I read in the papers like everybody else. I do believe that it's an instance of so I think in general with VMCs and with these marks, it's a lot more judgment based than we're used to in the world of WebPKI.
Right.
So it's like a trained rep at a desk has to say, is this the mark? And they visually compare them. A trained rep at a desk has to say, is this proof of usage? Right? And I think it's just about that vague.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I get your marketing literature. I collect your data sheets and look at your website and say, yes, I see this mark. It's at the upper left of your website. And I look at your data sheets and it's on all of your data sheets. And I say, okay, that's proof of usage. I actually believe, and if someone who knows this better, if you want to let me know or come on and explain it, I'd be happy to do this in detail. I actually think it's pretty general in the rules.
Okay. No, and that really, that's the reason I asked the question. It's not even to get the answer. It's just because for some of you who've heard of VMCs, obviously there's going to be a slight process difference.
Yeah.
It is probably judgment based. Yeah. You'll find out when you get them. Sectigo is an issuer of CMCs.
We are neither an issue of VMCs nor CMCs. We do not do that. And one of the reasons we don't do that is that the general looseness of the standard for me is bothersome. Like the way that you compare a mark is literally you compare the mark. So I always go through this thought exercise. I say, okay, let's say I take a logo and I clone the logo over here. Now, let's say I take the clone version and I change the aspect ratio so the width is 99% of this one, but the height is the same. Is that still the same mark? Yeah, okay. What if I make it 90%? Is that still the same mark? Yeah. Okay, what if I make it 75%? Is that still the same mark? No. Like I hate that. What if I change the Pantone a little bit? Right? What if I reduce the saturation? What if I introduce some more red or some more black? What if I put an extra dot here, right? And you know, how many dots do I have to put on before you decide it's not the same mark? And just the fundamental vagueness and human judgment nature of that, for me, is extremely troubling. Nonetheless, I understand that there isn't a better solution or suggestion today. And so that's what you get. Now, I know why people want VMCs. And as someone who sends email, if you're trying to maximize your open rates and maximize your delivery rates, if you're out doing DMARC, you're probably doing it to maximize your delivery rate, right? And control who's sending email, to prevent fraud. If you're doing DMARC anyway, why wouldn't you do a VMC? Like, I totally get it. I understand the value. I understand for the value for the consumer if they can rely on that mark being real. But that's got a sentence, an if in it, if they can rely on that mark being real. That's the part that troubles me.
Tim, it almost calls for a concept like signing.
Right.
Who knew that was possible? Right. But you're right.
So anyway, I didn't mean to come here and dump on VMCs and CMCs. I'm a little lukewarm on them, as you can see. I don't hate them, just a little lukewarm on them. But either way, it is a new kind of mark. It's not quite the same, and it's good to know what they are and what the difference is.
Yeah, great, Tim. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jason.